we move to a referendum debate, and it pertains what has been happening as of yesterday. And the IEBC chairperson, or chairman, that is Wafula Chebukati, yesterday presided over the verification exercise of the signatures by officials of the IEBC. Afterwards, the presentation of the signatures by the Third Way Alliance Party of Kenya of Dr. Ekuru Aukot wanting to change the constitution. They want a cut down in expenditure of the government, including reducing the number of elected representatives in the parliament, and wanting or having a proposal to make the Senate an upper house to act as perhaps a safeguard of devolution in the country. That, however, comes up or supplements or act as the springboard for other calls for changing the constitution of the country. And we have seen the opposing ends of the ruling Jubilee Party and in the opposition NASA coalition, to be specific ODM, where the Deputy President William Ruto and opposition chief Raila Odinga in 2018 April at the Kakamega Devolution Conference differed on the way to go about. Ruto saying that the current system can remedy the problem at hand of governance, while Raila Odinga has proposed a three-tier system of governance despite his opposition, though the DP, during a Chatham House address in the UK, said he has reservations and outlined his proposals. Coming to you, Ben, on this important note, is it time to relook into the 2010 Constitution, 9 years since we promulgated the document on the 27th of August 2010? And how do we need to insulate the process from political whole overtaking, in the sense that it doesn't only on a positive end satisfy the political class in the country, but rather one that seeks to ensure there is full implementation of the Constitution, and that perhaps beyond 2022, then we might not have calls to look into the Constitution because of political desires and political appetite?
I think I'll answer you by asking several questions. The first question is this: if we overhaul the 2010 Constitution, does that stop the Chinese from selling wares in Gikomba?
Of course not.
If we overhaul the
we need tightening laws, isn't it?
If we overhaul the 2010 Constitution, does that make, for example, food more readily available to Kenyans? If we overhaul the 2010 Constitution, does that make drinking water available in the house of every Kenyan? If you overhaul the 2010 Constitution, are we going to have electricity available for all? If you overhaul the 2010 Constitution, is Wanjiko going to be happier? Are school fees going to be lower? Is the cost of living going to be lower? And my answer is no. To remove the Chinese man who is selling wares in Gikomba sitting on a chair like me, all we need is a government that is decisive. To make sure that Kenyans have electricity and water and better medical care. I mean, you saw what happened in Kirinyaga County the other day when a hospital looked like, even a mortuary doesn't look that horrible. Do we need to change the constitution so that a hospital in Kirugoya can serve the people of Kirugoya? I think we are being made to lose the point. Kenyans have lost the mark, and every other time. Because when you talk about the constitution, it's all about structures of power and where the money is going and who is going to be involved. I think as Wanjiko, we need to rebel. We need to tell them we don't want to hear about that constitution anymore. What we want to hear first is that if I go to my local medical hospital, hospital, there will be medicine.
Services.
I want to hear services coverage. And so on and so forth. Secondly, the other day, Bunge sat and decided they each deserve 250,000 house allowance from members of public who are not able to pay 2,000 shillings rent here in Dagoretti in a Mabati house. They are not able. They are being kicked out. And they are supposed to pay for their MP 250,000 house allowance. That's a very painful process because it tells even the constitution that we have has already set SRC. Parliament has disregarded SRC and go ahead to award themselves more money. So I think this is an exercise in futility. A referendum will take more of our money and give us nothing in return. It will create positions, it will create posts, and so on and so forth. So that referendum, in my view, is unwanted and it's unneeded. The American Constitution is 10 pages. It has not stopped Americans from having access to all the things I have told you. We have a huge document, so many pages. I have read it, I have gotten tired. And it has not made our lives any better. I don't think going through a referendum will make this country any better. We can even adopt the American Constitution and bring it here and say this is our Constitution. It's only 10 pages. So I think we are wasting time on a referendum and we are wasting money on a referendum. Kenya should not go that direction.
Fred, I'll come to you on this note. And it pertains the need to change the constitution. Yes, that is envisioned by law, but there is growing uncertainty among members of the public. And when you look at the growing echo chamber of public views, there is an political uncertainty with regards to the conduct of the political establishment in the country. Going back to perhaps the early 90s, what we ought to have achieved after the opening up of the democratic space was to have political players and political parties that will come at the behest of service delivery when it comes to service in the Mwananchi, but that has not been realized or has not been achieved. Now, we are seeing this clamor again to change the constitution 9 years after we promulgated one that we fought for more than 20 years. How do we make it in the event that we are going that way, one that also addresses the common Mwananchi in the sense that it's Mwananchi driven, it's Mwananchi crafted in the sense that all his needs are answered? Because according to UK international organization Oxfam, extreme inequality in Kenya is out of control. Only 8,300 people, that is about 0.1%, earn or own wealth as much as 44 million Kenyans.
Yeah, that's actually true. Now, the 2010 Constitution was a very good document. It is a very good document, and in fact, it's mentioned as one of the most progressive constitutions around the world. You know, my view is he is very right. You know, with regards to where we are as a country. You know, we've been trying, every time we have a problem in this country, we move towards more laws, more lines into the constitution, more, let's add a clause here, let's add a clause here, you know, let's change let it be from a 2-tier now, as other leaders are saying, let it be a 3-tier, you know. The question now we miss is when we went around the country collecting views, the Mwananchi wanted a government that is closer to them, something simple, something they can relate to, something that addresses issues.
But we seem to have made the process complex, right?
Yeah, we seem to have completely abandoned that, and we've left the political class to actually tell us that this constitution is bad. Now we need to change it. But then we ask very fundamental questions. Since we promulgated this new constitution, has the life of the Mwananchi changed?
The main question.
You know, we've been drifting from bad to worse every day. And if all this, a study of all this just tells one thing: we have a people problem in this country. We just lack a sense of discipline on how we operate as a country. You know, let's take for instance what the Senate is going through right now with the Commission on Revenue Allocation. You know, and the Senate and the House. It's very clear that, you know what, Commission of Revenue Allocation is supposed to tell you guys, send you guys recommendations on what it's supposed to how they're supposed to. How money is supposed to be allocated in the next financial year. And then Senate is supposed to liaise with the National Assembly. You guys come up together with Treasury and come up with something that counties can work with going forward.
Okay.
Everybody has disregarded that. Guys are busy doing their own things.
Okay.
Those are some of the things that you're saying. Look, we need to be a little bit more disciplined. The Constitution does not need to be changed. If there are any amendments that needs to be done in this Constitution, they don't need a referendum. You know, we just need to sit down as a country, discuss, and if it is to be through parliamentary or through the judicial processes, let's do it.
Okay.
We don't have to spend a lot of money in an economy that is debt-ridden, you know, in an economy that half the country is unemployed, you know, in an economy that even access to credit is a problem for almost everybody,
okay,
you know. And an economy that is now, right now, we are talking about changing money so that we have, we can collect dirty money from the economy, you know. But here we are saying we want to commit billions to do a referendum.
Okay.
What for?
Now, having mentioned that, just briefly, because I want to seek your sentiments, I have 2 minutes, so I'll accord you 1 minute, starting with you, Ben. We have mentioned the fact that whether there is need or whether the political class needs to make this people-driven, yes, so that it addresses the problems that are perennial and are happening at the public coffers. And coming to you, is there the absence of perhaps the strategic political commitment by the political class in this country? Because much of the energy channeled towards the change or the clamor of a constitutional change is to alter the 2022 elections, or perhaps reassert, some individuals reasserting themselves for political power in 2022. Isn't that unfortunate?
It's very simple. Unfortunate. This is all I can say. If we used to elect chiefs, if there was an election for the village chief, do you think the stakes would be as high as they are today?
Of course not.
Do you think people would fight? Do you think people would kill each other? Do you think we would have nomination processes that look the way they look? Reason, the chief earns very little money. All we need to do is to lower the stakes in our political game. if an MP was told that they are going to earn 250,000 set in law, and if you feel 250,000 is too low, go
stay
home.
away.
An MCA will earn 80,000 or 70,000 for that matter, and it's either this or nothing. I mean, we pay our MPs twice as much as they are paid in the United Kingdom, a bigger economy than our own. We pay our... So all we need to do, even as they're saying that you separate the two elections so that you have one running and the other one, so as to... You don't need to lower the stakes that way. All you need to do is, number one, make sure that the money is payable and the benefits to these people. In fact, it should be in law. An MP should not drive a car more than 1,800 cc. Then now, you know...
There was that proposal at a time when...
Yes. So if we do that, if we bring down the stakes completely, what will happen is that the competition for these seats will go down, and we'll get people who are interested in serving the nation. And finally, even as we do that, we also make sure that it's not, you know, there's that thing of how much you're earning, and there's that thing that you have access, how much you have access to. You can steal. So if we make sure that these people who are in power are not the same people who are controlling tenders and supplies and so on and so forth, there will be no clamor for these seats. It will be easy to be like a chief. Nobody wants to be a chief.
And that will have tamed the growing appetite. Yes, Fred, briefly.
Yeah, briefly. My message today is, let's audit this constitution properly as a country, you know, and out of that audit, you know, let's decide whether we want to go in the direction politicians are taking it, because politicians will always say it's people driven. We are yet to really figure out these people, you know, because most of the Mwananchi that we interact with out there do not really know what these guys are talking about, and even if they know, it's a very vague thing. So as a country, I want to call on in academia, intellectuals, the educated, that their voices need to be heard with regards to what is going on in this country. We cannot keep quiet and say, and let the politicians take up the process of actually driving us to a direction we do not want to. The constitution is fine. All we need to do is, let's implement it in the way it was envisioned. You know, and failure to do that, let's audit it and let's discuss some of these things in not in a vacuum, but within the environment where we are facing higher debt, we are facing unemployment, we are facing bad healthcare, we are facing a lot of issues. We need to look at that money, redirect it somewhere where it's needed most.
Asante sana.